Hello there, this is Dizzy, and it's time to play some Minecraft. So tonight's project is a little bit different. Instead of exploring sort of a machine or a part of a mod, I want to explore how we could use a couple of mods working together to make a bunch of bookshelves. And, in this particular case, I want to fill this half of the room up with bookshelves, which is about 20 bookshelves altogether. Now, to put this in context, a bookshelf requires 3 books, which each require 3 pieces of paper. So we're talking about 180 pieces of paper, or 2 stacks or so, which is a lot of paper. And you can do that with a big sugarcane farm, which I don't have. And then you'd also need a cow farm to make a lot of cow leather. So my challenge to myself has been, how can I try and churn out all these bookshelves with a relatively low amount of automation very quickly? And so tonight we're going to explore some of that. So let's go ahead and get started. You can see this is my sort of upstairs, and I've got all of my items in here. I'm slowly filling out my storage drawers. But I want to fill this area up with bookshelves, and then this whole area as well. So to get started, first we're going to need some fertilizer, which you can make with forestry apiite and sand. So let's get some sand here and go ahead and make some fertilizer, because we're going to need to grow a lot of stuff. We're just going to make some fertilizer using sand. You can also do this using a charcoal pit, but I'm not going to go that route tonight. So this gives us about 4 stacks of fertilizers, which should be enough for our purposes. With this fertilizer in hand, let's go downstairs and take a look at what options we've got for making paper. So for paper, we've got a couple of options here. Let's go ahead and look at JEI and see what it tells us. So we could use sugarcane, of course, which we're deciding not to tonight because we don't want to wait around for the sugarcane farm to finish. We could also make it using sawdust from thermal foundation, which you get from putting logs in the pulverizer. This winds up making about 4 pieces of paper per log, which is fairly efficient, but it requires a water bucket for every 2 pieces of paper. Now, obviously, for 180 pieces of paper, that would be 90 water buckets, and that's a lot of crafting. So I would prefer to avoid that approach as well. There's another approach, though, using forestry. We can actually use wood pulp and some water and a carpenter to make some paper, which is also an interesting approach. So let's just try that real quick. So let's get some wood here. Let's go ahead and, we've already got some in here. This is leftover from the last time I did it. But to make wood pulp, you put a log in there, and we're going to have to get some water. So let's go ahead and get that real quick. And just get it from our sink here. And you can see that a piece of, or a single log makes 4 wood pulp. So let's just go ahead and make 1. Okay, so we got our wood pulp. And now we can make paper by just doing that pattern and putting the wood pulp in. And so we get basically 2 pieces of paper per log plus some water, which is okay. It's very wood intensive, but if you've got the stone lumber axe or a lumber axe from Tinker's Construct, you can get a lot of wood pretty easily. But there's a better way to do this. So let's go ahead and we're going to need a sapling. And let's see, we've got 2 pieces of paper. We're going to need a little bit more paper as well. I think I've got a few more pieces somewhere here. There we go. So we've got 3 pieces of paper, and we're going to need a sapling. And any old sapling will do. I'll use oak because I've got so much of it. As it turns out, there's a mod that you would not have expected to have support for making lots of paper, but it does. And that mod is called Pam's Harvest Craft. And it has what's called the paper bark sapling. So this is a special kind of tree that helps you make paper very quickly. So let's go give this a try. So we'll just plant it right here. And let's go ahead and use fertilizer to get it to grow. All right. So it looks like just a normal tree. You can see it's using jungle leaves. And if we actually look right above the white paperbark wood, there is actually just jungle wood. So this tree is meant to be used in a very specific way. When these lower blocks mature, you can harvest them to get paper off of them. Now, the thing is, nobody likes waiting around for anything, and certainly the goal is to make these bookshelves as quick as we can. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the fertilizer to help mature it more quickly. So you can see it sort of changed texture when I did that. And now I get a piece of paper every time I hit it with some fertilizer. So let's just go ahead and get 2 stacks of paper like we need. And it just takes a minute. Obviously, we're generating a lot of paper here. Actually, on reflection, I think I'm going to need 3 stacks of paper because that would be 180. 20 times 9, yeah, that would be 180. So I need 3 stacks of paper. So let's do it some more and get 1 more stack of paper. Math hasn't always been my strong suit. But as you can see, you can generate an incredible amount of paper quickly, which is super handy. So 3 stacks of paper, like I should have had in the very beginning. And all that for basically the fertilizer, and that's about it. So let's now go, now that we have the paper, now the problem is how do we bind all of that paper into a book? Well, if we look at the recipe for books, we actually see that there are 2 or 3 ways to make books. One is the old-fashioned way with leather, but with Tinker's Construct, you can again use blank patterns and string to make a book as well. So again, very wood intensive, but we can make that work. However, string is going to be another challenge. So let's go ahead and get some flax, I think is what it's called. Yeah, flax seeds. I think this is from Actually Editions. We've got fertilizer. We're going to need how many stacks of, well, actually, let's just try this. All right, so let's go down here and we're going to plant this and then use our fertilizer trick again. So let's use our hoe. Let's plant it. And now let's use the fertilizer to make string. And I'm just going to make a whole stack and see where that gets us. I think we're going to need 1 per book. We're going to need 60 books. So a stack of string should do us. And that is a couple of stacks of string. So we're good to go there. Stack and a half. All right, so the final part is to make all those blank patterns that we're going to need. Again, this is going to just be very wood intensive, which is fine because I've got a ton of it. Let me just get all the bits and bobs here. And making a pattern is very easy. So first we turn everything into oak or into planks. And all right, and then we're going to need a bunch of sticks. And then we just make patterns. So again, we're going to need 20 times 3, 60 books, which means that we're going to need 120 patterns. So let's just go ahead and make those up real quick. So about 2 stacks of patterns altogether. So let me go ahead and do that off camera, and then I'll come back to you once I have all of the patterns made. Okay, and we're back. I think I have everything that I need now to make all those books. So let's just drop the paper in here. Oh, we might need a little more paper, but that's all right. We've got our string and we've got our blank patterns. And this should yield about 61 books. And now we can just make our bookshelves like we normally would. I just have to get all the wood I need. Now, I can't remember if bookshelves are specialized or not, so let's find out here. Ah, they are. Now the question becomes, do I want dark oak books or do I want oak? I think I want oak. So let's see, what do we got here? We got 256, so we got plenty of that. So let's go ahead and use our oak here. Make a bunch of planks. 20 of those. All right, we've got our 20 bookshelves, and we did it very, very quickly. As you can see, it just took a few minutes, and really it's thanks to the Pam's Harvest Craft mod. So we can just go ahead and fill these guys in, and we're going to use chisel to clean them up afterwards. Might be short a few, but we'll find out. Yeah, definitely I'm going to be short a few. Oh well, it's pretty fast though. So as you can see, we knocked out these bookshelves very quickly. Again, thanks to a couple of mods working together. The fertilizer from Forestry, the Harvest Craft Tree from Pam's, as well as Actually Additions, Flax Seeds, and Tinker's Construct for making the book bindings. But it just goes to show that when you use a couple of mods together, you can really build a lot of stuff very quickly. So I guess that's the project for tonight. Simple and short, but something that's worth trying out and seeing how it goes. You can also use a chisel. I don't know if a lot of people know this. I can't ever remember how to do this. Oh, right, I have some carpet in there. That's why. There we go. You can just sort of change the different types of books and get a nice effect here. So it looks like you got a lot of books, different types of books to work with. And it just kind of adds to the texture a little bit. Anyway, that's the project for tonight. I hope that was useful, and hope you enjoy building with these different mods and making your interiors look interesting and beautiful. Thanks.